Hey everyone, I just crossed a milestone of reviewing over 50 SOPs as a part of my SOP review service. So across all of these essays, there are some essays that are really great, and then there are some essays that, tend to make a lot of common mistakes, right? So what I wanted to do in this video is to share with you guys what these common mistakes are so that you don't make them in your SOP. To be honest, I made a lot of these mistakes when I wrote my SOP, and I just want to make sure that you guys don't make the same mistakes, okay? So here are 5 things that I learned after 50 SOPs. One of the most common essay mistakes that I've seen is the use of vague platitudes. Okay, so this is something that even I did in my essay, right? So essentially what I mean is that, when we're describing a project or work experience, or even just like the university that we want to go to, oftentimes we use, big words and, fancy language and stuff in order to make up for actual content, right? So this is wrong. You want to be as specific as possible when you describe your projects, your experiences, the university, the program, and so on. Okay, so let's look at an example. So here's a statement. I want to pursue a master's degree in robotics to learn how to design and develop state-of-the-art robotic systems to be applied across disciplines such as manufacturing, orthotics, and space exploration. Okay, now this is an example of a bad statement, right? Why? Because it's too generic. Right? It just says that you want to learn more about robots. It doesn't discuss, why robotics is important to you, what area of robotics you're interested in, and what you want to do with a master's degree in robotics, and so on, right? Now let's look at another example. Aerial robotic systems hold immense potential as a life-saving tool in the hands of first responders. Through a master's degree in robotics, I want to learn how to design aerial robots that are lighter, faster, and more energy efficient. So this is a much better way to describe why you want the degree, right? Your specialization is mentioned, why you want the degree is stated, and your purpose is defined, right? So this of course doesn't mean that you have to work on aerial robotics in your degree. And you can of course join the degree and then switch completely. You don't have to work on aerial robotics. You can work on like manufacturing robots or whatever, right? No one's gonna say that, hey, in your SOP that you said that you wanted to work on aerial robots and now you're not doing that. It's totally fine, right? You can switch. But what I'm trying to say is that when you guys are writing your SOP, you want to be as specific as possible, right? Try to avoid all these general words and try to be, more specific about the things that you describe. A second common mistake that I see is that students tend to talk about their pre-college achievements, right? So things they did in high school and grade school and so on, right? Now there's nothing wrong with using pre-college experiences in your SOP, but it's not a very good idea. Right, so generally SOPs should be talking about your passion for the field and all of that, and you should be mostly talking about your achievements while in college or after college, right? Everything you did before college is sort of outdated, so if you are using a pre-college experience in your SOP, make sure it's like highly relevant and it serves a purpose of being inside the essay, right? So people sometimes talk about their abacus achievements back in like 8th grade and stuff. That stuff is nonsense that nobody really cares about anymore once you're like already 22 years old and applying to college. Another common mistake that I see is that people list out all the classes they took in college, okay? So this is wrong, all right? Let me give you an example. So here's the statement. In my bachelor's degree, I learned the fundamentals of strength of mechanics, thermodynamics, fluid dynamics, heat transfer, metallurgy, and manufacturing, right? So let's say I was applying for robotics and I had this statement in my SOP, right? They can see your transcript. They know what you learned in college, right? So don't just randomly list out all of your classes. State only the courses that are related to the field that you're applying to. Even when you state them, like it has to be relevant as to why you're stating them, okay? Let me give you an example. My robotics journey began with the fundamentals I learned through C programming and control systems courses in my bachelor's degree. So here what you've done is, you've stated 2 courses that you've taken in your bachelor's degree, and more than that, you've actually stated why they're important, right? Because it gave you the fundamentals of robotics, before you apply for grad school and so on. So make sure that whenever you guys are talking about courses that you took in undergrad, that you only state the most relevant courses. Okay, don't just state a bunch of random stuff because they know you've taken a bunch of courses. They can see your transcript. Another huge mistake that I see in SOPs is that SOPs are sometimes written as like the prose version of a resume, okay? It is not a prose version of your resume. Okay, let me tell you what I mean. So let's say that, in college you have say 3 projects and 2 internships and 2 research papers and then like some 3 years of work experience. Okay, so that's like a full profile. Good for you. Now the thing is, you should not be stating all of those experiences in your statement of purpose, okay? Because what happens is, a lot of those internships, a lot of those projects may not be completely related to the field that you're applying to, right? So then don't bother stating them. You can put these projects and all these internships and experiences in your resume, that's fine, right? But you should only state these experiences in your statement of purpose if they're important to your journey, right? So for example, again, let's say you're applying for a robotics-based degree, and then you have robotics projects and research papers and work experience, internships and all that, right? So you should talk about the project that first got you interested in robotics, okay? So what made you think like, hey, this is the field for me, right? And then another project that helped you build your skills and, you know, really helped you contribute to like society or like, you know, research and so on, right? So then that made you realize that, hey, you know what, this is the kind of stream that I want to, you know, work in. And then maybe you did like an internship, or maybe you have work experience in like a related, you know, robotics related field, and you really started loving it. And then you decided, hey, okay, I want to learn even further and I want to go to grad school, right? So then these 3 specific experiences should be the only experiences in your statement of purpose, right? So all the other experiences, related or unrelated, should not be a part of your SOP. So a question that you guys may have is that, you know, what if your projects and internships and work experience or whatever are not related to the field that you're applying to, okay? There's still hope for you, don't worry. So I have a student who is applying for a robotics-based degree, and she has experience in automobile development and design and systems and all that, okay? So what she did is, in her statement of purpose, you know, she talked about how, you know, she had experience in all this, she learned this and all that, and then that's pretty much it. That's all she did, right? But what I told her is that if you want to make that experience relevant, you want to talk about the skills that you gained through that experience that you hope to bring to grad school. So she can say that, you know, she did a bunch of, you know, stress testing and simulations and stuff in that automobile development program, whatever. And then she hopes to bring those skills into the robotics program that she's applying for, because those skills can also be used in the field of robotics, right? So the same way, even if your projects are unrelated, you can state them in your SOP, but you should talk about the skills and knowledge that are relevant to the degree that you're applying for. And the last most common mistake that I see across SOPs is the lack of career aspirations, right? So 9 out of 10 colleges will ask you to detail your career aspirations in your statement of purpose. So in your SOP, you guys want to make sure that you talk about, you know, what you hope to do after grad school, right? What do you hope to do with your degree? What sector do you want to work in? What companies do you want to work for? What role do you want to work in as? What kind of impact do you hope to make in your role? How will graduate school help, you know, give you the kind of skills required for the kind of career you want, and so on. Your career aspirations are important in an SOP because graduate schools want to know like whether you'd be a good alum, you know, even after you graduate, right? So if you can talk about your aspirations in detail in your statement of purpose, then that's going to be like a huge bonus in your essay. So that's it. Those are the 5 most common mistakes that I see across SOPs. And if you guys want to get your statement of purpose reviewed, I'm going to leave a link in the description as to how you can go access our statement of purpose review service. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If it helped you, leave a like. I'd really appreciate it. And subscribe to see more graduate program related content. I'll see you later. Bye.